All right, welcome back. Is this in the front? All right, welcome back. All right, this is in the frame. We're good. So yesterday we went through, not yesterday, 2 days ago. It's been a day off. Sorry to my people. But we went over like what Chainlink is from a Chainlink perspective. But I really wanted to bring something in from the outside, a little rundown about what Chainlink is from Gemini being another crypto exchange. And I really think this description from Gemini, Cryptopedia, will really bring some light to what Chainlink is, how they operate, what's the point of it, what does their token do. I think a lot of people really want to know what their token does. Is, why should they invest? It's not even really investing because it's not a stock. You may put money into Chainlink hoping that the price of the asset appreciates, but that isn't why you should invest. That would be a benefit, or you shouldn't put money in because of that, per se. All right. Nice little graphic here. Summary: Chainlink is a decentralized Oracle network that provides real-world data to smart contracts on the blockchain. Smart contracts are pre-specified agreements on the blockchain that evaluate information and automatically execute when certain conditions are met. Link tokens are the digital asset token used to pay for services. Now, before reading any further, I think that this graphic is a perfect illustration of what a smart contract is. It is at its base level, a smart contract is an if-then statement. Now, you may be asking, what is an if-then statement if you have no experience with those kinds of calculations? So you can even think very simple. Go to Excel and type in if. In SQL, database coding languages, it's a case statement. An if-then statement is basically if X happens, then Y. And a smart contract lays out all the possible ifs and what would happen after the then. And so you can think of it as, if you're going in an Excel file and you wanted to say, hey, if this number is 1, give me a 2. If this number is 3, give me a 4. And let's say you wanted to create something where you always produce the number after the number you were given. That could just as easily be put into a smart contract. Think of it as, if I pay off my car loan, then Honda gives me my title. Or if I pay off my house, then the state of New York gives me my deed. A smart contract is a simplified, at a high level, is a if-then statement. So to understand the benefits of Chainlink and how it functions, you need to understand some fundamental interconnected concepts. Smart contracts are pre-specified agreements on the blockchain that evaluate information and automatically execute when certain conditions are met. Crowdfunding is a good example. If a certain amount of ETH is deposited into a smart contract by a certain date, for crowdfunding, think of Kickstarter, then payment will be released to the fundraiser. If it is not, then payment will be returned to the donors. Now, think of right now when you use even Kickstarter, if you were to donate off a credit card or your bank account, that platform, if it could not go through, would have to figure out how to back send all the funds that it received, either to the Venmo or to the credit card or to the bank account, which would take a long time, especially if you donated by means of pooling, right? Let's say you donated another way. If you were to do it via a smart contract, the smart contract would have your wallet address and know exactly where to send it to when the conditions are met. Because smart contracts exist on a blockchain, they are immutable, which means they can't be changed, and verifiable, everyone can see them, guaranteeing a high level of trust among parties that they accurately reflect the stated parameters of the agreement and will execute if and only if those parameters are met. This is why people who are big advocates of crypto are staunchly in favor of code is law. So what does code is law means? Code is law means that when something is out on the blockchain, it is immutable. It can't change. So if the code is vetted, or if it is out there and it is verifiable by other parties and it comes to a general consensus that the code is wrong, it can be updated. That is a perk of it being verifiable. But once it's out there and it is immutable, it means that nothing, unless accepted by the all parties, nothing can change that code. Nothing can change what happens to the code. So it will always execute when 1, then 2, when 3, then 4. So no one could say, when this passes, then I want to take the money for myself. No, if the code says otherwise, it will follow the code. The blockchain and the smart contracts are all code. There is no human interference. That is what is so good about these smart contracts. We will go into later of how Chainlink provides the data for these smart contracts, but in essence, that is why smart contracts are so powerful. Again, here's that if-then statement. Drawing. Of how Chainlink provides the data for these smart contracts to craft agreements beyond those that pertain to data found on the blockchain. They require off-chain data in an on-chain format. Okay, the difficulty in connecting, let me put that down. The difficulty in connecting outside information sources to blockchain smart contracts in a language they both understand is one of the main limitations to how smart contracts can be used. Ethereum uses Solidity or Viper, which is a Python-based language. But what this means is that, again, if you have weather data, let's say the Weather Channel is putting out data in a different format, let's say a JSON format, just because the Weather Channel is putting it out there doesn't mean that the blockchain has any means to grab that data, pull it on chain, and then make it an ingestible format for applications or the blockchain to utilize. Chainlink oracles bridge the on and off chain chasm. Excuse me 1 second. Doesn't mean that the blockchain has any means to grab that data, pull it on chain. Chainlink oracles bridge the on and off chasm. This is where oracles come into play. An oracle is a software known as middleware that acts as an intermediary translating data from the real world to smart contracts on the blockchain and back again. However, a single centralized oracle creates the problem a decentralized blockchain secured smart contract aims to solve, a central point of weakness. If the oracle is faulty or compromised, which we've talked about, which is where consensus comes in, how would you know if your data is accurate? What good is secure, trustworthy smart contract on the blockchain if the data that it is being fed is in question? That is very true. If you know that the thing you're transacting with is not been altered and it's going to do whatever it's being told to do, but when you transact with it, it's telling you that $1 is worth 10,000 yen, you're going to be a little suspicious if that's not true. With is not been altered and it's going to... So let's do a that was bad. Let's do a quick recap of smart contracts and oracles. Smart contracts are immutable and verifiable contracts that automatically execute an if-then statement. The data that defines these conditions has traditionally come from the blockchain. Recently, oracles have been introduced into the crypto ecosystem. That's not recent, but here's a nice little graphic. So you have these real-world assets, these real-world things that are going on. This is the globe. You then have global data points. You have, we could assume is government data points. You have an API that you want to connect to. A cloud API. So think of either Google or even Microsoft, things that you want to pull into the smart contract. Weather data, which is the example we've been going with. You have other data, and lastly, your secure data. And so Chainlink is a decentralized network of these nodes. As you can see, these are all Chainlink nodes that provide data and information from off-blockchain sources to on-blockchain smart contracts via oracles. This process, along with extra secure hardware, eliminates the reliability issues that might occur if only a single centralized source is used. So the requesting contract would be a contract that you are interacting with to have some sort of data, and then an SLA, service level agreement contract. So you could have smart contracts interact with one another, a daisy chain, if you will, which is more than likely when you have a complex situation going on. And so you have these smart contracts that are going to represent different layers of the transaction process. Types of Chainlink smart contracts. The process starts on a smart contract enabled blockchain. Here we go. When a smart contract requires data, the smart contract puts out a requesting contract on information. The Chainlink protocol registers this request as an event and in turn creates a corresponding smart contract, a Chainlink service level agreement contract, also on the blockchain to get this off-chain data. The Chainlink SLA contract generates 3 subcontracts: a Chainlink reputation contract, a Chainlink order matching contract, and a Chainlink aggregating contract, as we can see here. The Chainlink protocol registers this request as an event and in turn creates a corresponding smart contract also on the blockchain to get this off-chain data. The Chainlink SLA contract generates 3 subcontracts, a Chainlink reputation contract. Oh, that is what we just read. The Chainlink reputation contract checks an Oracle's provider's track record to verify its authenticity and performance history, then evaluates and discards disreputable or unreliable nodes. This is very big in the Chainlink space because you don't want to suggest or have your contracts use oracles that are not giving good data or have a history of not giving good data. So a good thing about Chainlink is that they have a track record, a history for each oracle, so that every contract, every user that is using these oracles can see and conceptualize how good these oracles are. And if they don't like what they were seeing, they can choose to use other oracles in the network. The Chainlink order matching contract delivers the requesting contract's request to Chainlink nodes and takes their bids on the request. When the requesting contract does not choose a specific set of nodes. Again, you can choose these nodes if you know that you're going to get better data than others, and then selects the right number and type of nodes to fulfill the request. The Chainlink aggregating contract takes all the data from the chosen oracles and validates and or reconciles it for an accurate result. So you have the requesting contract. You then send this request to the Chainlink oracle node. It provides the data. It grabs the data from the real world, which is weather data. It brings the data back to the Chainlink node, and then you have this aggregating contract that's going to say, okay, the weather channel says it's 90 degrees out. Wonderground, Weather Underground says it's 89 degrees out. Another one says that it's 89.5 degrees out, and then boom, you aggregate it, and you can see it now. Hey, look, the weather's more than likely 89.5 degrees out. You are going to have some slippage or some difference between different nodes depending on where they get their data from, right? It might, if you're looking for New York data, New York City might be different than Long Island data, even though they are practically in the same place. It really depends on the source of the data. That's why you really want to be specific with these requests. But other than that, that is why that aggregating contract is there. How Chainlink nodes reliably validate data. Chainlink nodes then take the requesting contract's request for data and use Chainlink core software to translate that request from on-chain blockchain programming language to an off-chain programming language a real-world data source can understand. This newly translated version of the request is then routed to an external application programming interface, an API, that collects data from that source. Once the data has been collected, it's translated back into on-blockchain language through Chainlink core and sent back to the Chainlink aggregating contract. Why is this important? You can see here that there are multiple things going on when interacting with that Chainlink node, especially as we discussed before. All of these are Chainlink nodes. You will have a bunch of data points coming from the real world that do not know how to interoperate with blockchain code. As we just said, if we're doing Ethereum, that would be in Solidity or Viper. Bitcoin would be, I don't know what Bitcoin is coded in, but Bitcoin has its own specific code. And each of these blockchain networks have a specific way that they ingest this data. And so what Chainlink does, it'll translate the way that these blockchains communicate. It'll translate that request to, let's say, a JSON file or another API, output API, to communicate with this off-chain API so that they can talk to one another. And so what Chainlink is really doing is it's translating. So imagine if you were talking to someone from Spain, right? You could point to a piece of bread and they would more than likely understand what you're pointing at, but they're not going to understand that you want to say, I want to eat it, or I want to throw that away, or that doesn't taste good. They can just see that you're pointing at it, but don't know what you're saying, right? And so a blockchain can point, it can go to a server or a website and say, hey, I look at this thing, but that website's not going to know what it wants. And so that's where Chainlink really comes in as the blockchain interpreter. So if 5 nodes deliver one answer from a weather sensor, again, back to our weather example, and 2 other nodes deliver a different answer, the aggregation contract will know that those 2 nodes are faulty or dishonest and discard their answers. In this manner, Chainlink nodes can validate from a single source. Even better, as we talked about, you want to have that aggregation to know what is right, what is wrong, and get rid of bad actors. Bad actors may arise because they might be charging more in Link for certain information, or let's say you are betting on sports. You don't want someone giving you a worse line than what the consensus of the Vegas books is providing. And better, as we talked about, you want to have that aggregation to know. The Chainlink aggregating contract can repeat this validation process for multiple sources, then reconcile all validated data by averaging it into a single piece of data under certain circumstances. Not all answers can be averaged, but for simplicity's sake, we won't go, okay, as we said, yes, not all of them can be averaged, but if they're very close, it will take a look at the consensus of the data. Sources, then reconcile all validated data by averaging it into a single piece of data under certain. Where do link tokens fit in? This is the most important part. This is how Chainlink operates with their tokens. This is the economic model of how the Chainlink network operates. So where do link tokens fit in? Requesting contract holders, if you are the one putting in the request to get the data, they use Link to pay the Chainlink nodes, the nodes that go out and get the data from the real world. They pay the Chainlink node operators, the people that have coded these, the people that have these companies that have put them out there to know where to ingest the data from. So imagine that you are creating a weather site on Ethereum, and you're saying, hey, I want to go get this data from the Weather Channel. Well, you need to find a node to do that, and you will pay this node in Link to go get that data for you. Prices are set by the Chainlink node operator, so the company or the people that own that node that is getting the data, they set their price for the node in Chainlink or in Link based on the demand for the data they can provide and the current market for the data. This all goes back to the fundamentals of a market as well. So they could price it super high. They could price it at 10 Link, and they could be known as the best node provider for weather data. But if there are numerous nodes out there that are also providing weather data with just as good as a rating for 1 Link token, they're not going to get any business. And so you have all these providers in a market with one another that are balancing each other out, providing a cost analysis or a cost, a price based on market costs. And so that is where these market factors really come into play, because if there's only one node providing men's collegiate golf scores, you're going to have to use that node. But if you're an application looking for weather data and there's hundreds of nodes providing weather data, accurate weather data too, you don't have to go with the priciest one. Chainlink node operators also use Link to stake in the network. Node operators must deposit Link with Chainlink to demonstrate their commitment to the network and incentivize good service. What is staking? Staking is a form of security on a blockchain network. It used to be proof of work. So proof of work is how Bitcoin operates now. And when I say used to, that's how Ethereum used to operate. So proof of work is, hey, I'm expending energy, I'm expending money to mine or to calculate the solution to an algorithm. Therefore, I'm putting up a lot of cost, a lot of capital to do. It is capital intensive for me to do this work. And therefore, when I solve the problem, I have extolled a lot of energy, a lot of resources to get this. Therefore, the cost to get or mine the Bitcoin is typically high, and why would someone extol all of that to get something that they're going to be malicious on? And therefore, you mine the Bitcoin, you secure the network, proof of work. Proof of stake is a little different, where you have people stake their tokens, which means that you put these tokens on net or on the blockchain in a secure fashion, typically sitting in a smart contract, and very high level. And here you go. The Chainlink reputation contract considers the size of a node's stake. So you would stake your tokens with each node, among others, when matching nodes with requests for data. Nodes with a greater stake are therefore more likely to be chosen to fulfill requests, and thus earn link tokens for their service. Moreover, the Chainlink network punishes faulty or dishonest nodes by taxing their stake of link for poor service. And this is the big differentiator for staking. For staking, you have to stake or put your link, in this case, other cases it might be ETH for if you're on Ethereum, you would put your tokens in a contract on network and therefore use that as the entity to do the work to secure the contract. And the reason that this matters is because the more tokens or the more assets in this, let's just say assets that you have in the smart contract, the pricier it's going to be. So let's say Link's at $15. If you have 100 Link staked, that's going to be $1,500. But the more that you have staked, 1,000, a million, the more money that sits in this contract. And so if the network finds that you're acting poorly, acting maliciously, they will cut that stake. They will slash it, which means they will get rid of the stake that you have there. And so it really incentivizes you to act appropriately, because you don't want to lose your link. You don't want to lose your money for doing something that you know is wrong. And at the very bottom here, Link is built on Ethereum in accordance with the ERC20 standard for tokens. It really doesn't matter about the standard that it's used on, but it is key to know that it is built on Ethereum. It does transact on Ethereum, another proven proof of stake network, and it can be bought and sold for fiat currency or other digital currencies. Thus, this is where I'm saying that you can technically invest in Link. It's not going to be investing like a stock, but like any other cryptocurrency, you can buy and sell the token and hope that the price appreciates. Now, when it comes to buying and selling Link, as we just said, because you have to pay these node operators in Link, this is where your investment hat can come on, right? If oracles, or as we know, oracles are going to be used a lot. If Chainlink specifically becomes the leader in data supply from oracles, and Chainlink grows and more companies, more developers want to use Chainlink nodes, we know that they're going to have to buy more Link. We know that they're going to have to pay more Link to these nodes. And then these node operators may or may not sell that Link back. So it might create a shortage of Link, which would then cause the price of Link to increase. So there's, again, many factors at play which might cause the price of Link to rise or fall. But that's just one instance of how someone could or would invest in Link, and why it may or may not be smart to do so. At the end of this video right now, I just want to say that I do hold Link. This is not investment advice. I do have a vested interest in this cryptocurrency, but I do see this as a large benefit for this ecosystem. And oracles are such a massive part of how the crypto ecosystem operates, how Chainlink operates, how Ethereum operates. Again, everything, almost every application on Ethereum, I'm just going to say 80%, just as the Pareto principle, are going to be using Link. Now, there are other Oracle providers out there that they can choose from, but Link has a proven standard. And as we've seen in Pear does episode 1 of Chainlink, they are building out with Swift. So the more that they get ingrained with these government-esque entities, the more that they get used on this broader scale. When you see Swift or you see UBS using these oracles for their data, it's going to be hard as a developer to not want to use these oracles, especially if the price is well. And again, this is up to the oracles to set their, or the oracle node operators to set their price. And if they set a good price and they are known as a good actor to provide good data, how could you not want to go with them? And so, big shout out here to Gemini and the Cryptopedia staff for putting this together. This is a great article with great visuals, and I really think this is a good one here. A good actor to provide good data. How could you not want to go with them? And so, big shout out here to Gemini and the Cryptopedia staff for putting this together. This is a great article with great visuals, and I really think this is a good one here. A good actor to provide good data. How could you not want to go with them? And so, big shout out here to Gemini and the Cryptopedia staff. All right, now that that's done, just trying to apologize for the stream. I'm just trying to find the optimal, because I don't have headphones. I'm trying to find the optimal actor to provide good data. How could you not want to go with them? And so, big shout out here to Gemini and the Cryptopedia staff. Trying to find the optimal place. Now that that's done, just trying to apologize for the stream. I'm just trying to find the optimal, because I don't have headphones. I'm trying to find the optimal actor to provide good data.
All right, cool. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
And so.